One of the most common questions I get comes from couples who are planning to get married, one of whom lives in the United States, one of whom lives abroad. The question is, what's the best immigration path for us so that we can live together in the United States happily ever after as a couple? The question usually comes down to two different possibilities. One, the fiance visa. Two, the marriage-based visa. In this video, we're going to explore both options. We're going to examine the obstacles. We're going to examine the concerns that will help you determine what is the right choice for you and the person you love. About a month ago, a couple came into my office. They fit exactly this situation. They had met in college in Houston. They were both graduate students. She was from China and she was here on a student visa. He was a U.S. citizen. In fact, I had known him almost 20 years, although I hadn't seen him in almost 20 years, because I had handled his mother's case many, many years ago. He was a young man then. Now he was in his early 30s. They were thinking about getting married. They were wondering, what's the best path? Their decision came down to three requirements, which we're going to discuss. They were in the best of all possible worlds, as I'm going to discuss, because they had both options available to them if they wanted to make certain choices. The first requirement is marital status. You cannot file, the United States spouse cannot file for a fiance visa if they're already married. The fiance visa means just that, someone you're going to marry. So as long as you're not married, you could file a fiance visa for the immigrant fiance. The second legal requirement that they needed to be concerned about was the petitioner's immigrant status, the sponsor, the U.S. citizen. In this case, the young man. The young man was a United States citizen, and so he could immigrate someone on a fiance visa because citizens can. Lawful permanent residents can. We'll discuss that in just a moment, what a lawful permanent resident soon-to-be spouse might want to do in such a situation. The third legal requirement is where is the immigrant living or plan to live. Because the Chinese fiance had entered the United States legally, she was in a whole different category than someone that perhaps entered the country without permission. Because she had entered legally and she had not overstayed her visa, and based on what I could tell, they had not attempted to dupe immigration, meaning she did not come here just to get married. In fact, they were still uncertain when they would get married, whether it would be soon, 2 or 3 months, or whether it was still a year or two away. But in any event, they wanted to explore their options. But because there was no fraud, he could, if they got married and he's a citizen, they could do a marriage visa here in the United States. Of course, during that whole process, she would have to remain in the United States, perhaps overstay her visa, and she would have to be willing to do that, which is one of the practical concerns that come into these cases. Now, if he was a lawful permanent resident, their options would be a little more limited. She could wait for him to become a citizen, begin a process that might last a year or longer. He could apply for citizen, and if he's successful, well, now he's a citizen, and assuming that the immigrant spouse had come in legally, then she could immigrate under him here with a marriage visa. On the other hand, if they didn't want to go that route, if she wanted to go home, well then, as a lawful permanent resident, he could still marry her, but then she would have to process her papers through the consulate, what we call consular processing, and she would go to her interview in her home country. That would be an option. Of course, he could start the process as a permanent resident and then try to convert it to a citizen later, but that's a little more complicated process, a little more timely process, and might not be what most couples really want to do in that situation. The other option, of course, is that if she stayed here and he was a lawful permanent resident, and then she wanted to try to stay here and not go home and extend past her visitor's visa or her student visa, and she now was accruing unlawful status, then they would have to file what is commonly known as a family unity waiver, the I-601 waiver, and show the hardship to the male U.S. spouse in this situation, which again is not really a preferred strategy, not really a preferred pathway to green card success. So anyway, those are your options. A fiancé visa, if the United States immigrant is a citizen, if the United States, they're not married yet, and if the immigrant's living abroad, then you can file the fiancé visa. If the immigrant is living here in the United States, that's not going to happen, but you could file the marriage-based visa. And that's a very high likelihood of success if the immigrant spouse has entered the country legally. In any event, I hope I've been able to clarify the right path for you and the person you love. And if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. As you'll notice, you look around my videos, there's a lot of questions that people ask me. And at the end of this video, you'll see access to a free download, a guide, so to speak, of questions you might face at a fiancé visa interview if that's the route you change. And of course, if you'd like to contact me directly, my number is 800-287-1180. In any event, I wish you and the love of your life all the success in the world. Good luck. Thanks for watching. Know someone who might be interested in this video? Then please take a moment to like and share it with them. Also, if you would like more videos on immigration, just click on the subscribe button. And here's a little bonus, a short guide that you can download for free by clicking on the link on the description box or the square-shaped image. Plus, if you have ideas for videos you'd like to see, write a short comment below. Or feel free to contact me at carlos@VitaraImmigrationLaw.com or by calling 800-287-1180. My name is Carlos Vitara. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll be talking again very, very soon.